Hello. So I'm Eugene, and I'm the VP of Product Management for ControlUp, which is a company that, like Alex said, we grew together with E2EVC, I guess. E2EVC is much older than us, but we started ControlUp in 2011. The first E2EVC we were present at was in Rome in 2013, and since then we've been pretty much every one of them. I apologize in advance for all of those who already seen the product and already seen the presentation. Who has never seen ControlUp before in this room? Please. Okay, look, can you hold your hands a little bit higher? Please. Okay. Just please stay tuned for this presentation, because if you have any questions, this is the right time to ask them, and there will be incentives for questions. Okay? And those of you who have already seen the presentation know what I mean. I apologize in advance for the stuff that you've already seen, but in every one of the E2EVC presentations that we've done so far, it just happened to be this way that in every E2EVC we have a new version of ControlUp to show. And this one is not an exception. We're going to be showing some of the functionality which is going to be introduced in 7.1, which comes out in a couple of months. So, a bit more than a month actually. Some of the functionality that you will see today is brand new, and as well, maybe it was shown like once or twice outside of our offices. So new stuff is coming. Brace yourselves. Not everything is going to be a revision. So let me just do a quick walkthrough of what ControlUp is. ControlUp is basically a management and monitoring solution for anything end-user computing. We're specializing in end-user computing, and we basically built this product because we were doing consultancy. We were going to customers and looking at Citrix deployments. Back in the day, it was mostly XenApp, later XenDesktop. And we were seeing the need for a single console, a single tool, which will visualize the entire performance of end-user computing environments, users working on different servers, the processes they're running, and being able to act and remediate and fix issues in real time. So we basically built this for ourselves to be able to manage and monitor end-user computing environments more efficiently, and gaining a better visibility into what happens into our customers' environments. And it caught up, and people started using this at customer sites. It all started with a blog on the Citrix website, where in 2011 they helped us unveil the first version of ControlUp. And since then, we've been gaining traction, and now we have about a little bit more than 700 customers worldwide. And we have, the company itself is now almost 60 people, which is, to me, mind-boggling, because back when a few years ago, it was just all the people who did ControlUp could fit in this one table. And a lot of it is thanks to you guys. I think one of the major things about ControlUp which makes it special is the fact that we're talking to experts. And there's a lot of experts in this room, and we are very well connected with most of the experts. We'll see in a bit some of the evidence for that, which I found recently in the console, and some of the things I've been looking about our lab. So we have some evidence of footprints of people from this room around our lab. So this is also nice. And I think that the fact that we're talking to experts and not only to the end customers helps us sort of focus on the things that, from the expert perspective, helps actually manage and monitor end-user computing environments more efficiently. And even people who are in this room that make products which are very similar to ours and maybe even competing in some scenarios, I think the conversation is really great, and it helps both us and eventually the customers. So let me just walk you through a little bit of the things that most of you have already seen. Basically, ControlUp, what it does is it connects to several layers of your infrastructure. First of all, the virtualization layer. So in this case, you see, oh, this is going to be challenging. Can you hear me like that?
No.
Is that okay with no microphone?
No.
No. Okay. So what you see here is the virtualization host view. So basically, for every virtualization host, in this case, some of them, sorry, not host, This is helpful. So in this view, you will see some Zen servers, some CSX servers, some Hyper-V servers. So we support those, and we're actually looking into supporting the Tank Metropolis in the future. Nothing concrete about that yet, but we're definitely looking into this. So those hosts are right now running in our lab. We're seeing the real-time performance of those hosts, some resource consumption, and actually the next step that I'm going to take has to do with basically troubleshooting, right? We see something irregular here. We see some data store activity on one of the hosts. So basically, we can just double-click on that host and drill down into the VMs running on that host. So in this case, just 3 VMs, but it's pretty clear. Oh, sorry, there's a little bit more. Okay, so in this case, a few VMs here. It's very clear which of the VMs is responsible for the regular data consumption on the data store. We can drill down into the VM, and we can see which users are actually working. That's just me in this case. And drilling down into that user session. Sorry, let me just clear the filter here. So we're able to spot the individual process that's responsible for the regular data consumption. So I guess you guys are familiar with this one. But just in case you're not, we can always take a screenshot of the user activity and see what's happening inside. And of course, this is our IO meter, which has been running for years now. The idea here is connecting the dots, sort of looking at the virtualization infrastructure, looking at the VMs, looking at the operating system level, looking at the user sessions running there and the processes, and trying to connect the dots. To me, I call this mental join. You know the join statement in SQL. What you do when you do a query in SQL from one table, and then you want to sort of link this with an output from another table. So what you do is you join the results from both tables. And I think as admins or experts or troubleshooters, we do this in our minds all the time. We look at one screen, like a vSphere client, for example. We see which VM is working really hard. We remember the name of that VM. We switch to another window. We find that VM. We look it up somewhere, like Director or like Civic Studio or somewhere else. And we try to remember username, and then we switch to Active Directory, and then we look them up. And we do this in our mind all the time. So the vision for ControlUp was born exactly from this process. What we tried to do is take those mental operations of hopping between different tools and consoles and trying to unify it in one experience. And a simple example of that is how we visualize the user sessions. So the different user sessions running on different machines basically in different environments here. By the way, this supports multiple Zen desktop sites, multiple Zen app sites, older versions as well as newer versions. Actually, in some cases, this is already a winner because managing multiple sites in one console is already nice, because with built-in Citrix consoles, sometimes you need to hop between different consoles and you can't just see all of the sessions or all of the VDAs or all the computers in one view. So unifying everything into one view is already kind of nice. But one of the things that we find that helps is trying to connect the dots and bring data from different sources. For example, just for every session showing from which Active Directory OU is the user coming, right? So you can always go to Active Directory users and computers and look them up, or do a PowerShell query or something like that. Showing this in the same view and allowing you to group, sort, search, and sort of play with the data like in Excel, basically, in a table, and trying to drill down into each of the sessions, see what's happening inside, and fix stuff in real time. That's one of the things that we're trying to make easy with Control, right? So, questions so far? Any newcomers? Questions, please. Yes? Integration with Horizon. Okay, so this is what I call a great question, and for great questions, you don't have to drink it now. No. Okay, so integration with Horizon View has been one of the popular questions raised so far. So we're basically we're researching the APIs. It's getting the APIs were not very good a year and a half ago. It's getting better. We're actually looking into integrating with their native API and bringing the same information that we do for Citrix and desktop. We are already working in some Horizon environments. Basically, what you do is you just add the Horizon computers, the virtual desktops into ControlUp, and you are able to monitor and manage everything that's happening on them from the OS standpoint, just like you do with the Citrix virtual desktop. So it doesn't make a lot of difference to us. We already have a lot of success in Horizon desktop environments. We're in a end-user computing VMUG in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, and there was a lot of enthusiasm from VMware admins. They found it really useful, what we are already able to provide for Horizon environments, but definitely integrating with the actual APIs coming from the VMware side, it's going to add another layer of data, which is going to be useful. So we're working on that. That's one of our roadmap items. Yes?
What about the Linux VDA from Citrix? So I know you have agents, and will there be a Linux agent?
So yeah, so just to show real quick, this is, by the way, another great question for a second, but I'll try to do it in a second so that you see what I'm doing. So basically, as maybe you can see, we are able to manage and monitor all sorts of OSs, not only Windows. So from the virtualization side, we can also monitor Linux. The downside of what we currently do or not do with Linux is that we're still not able to drill down into the OS and show what's happening in there. This is another item which we are very excited about, and we just started actively researching it and working towards introducing this. I can't commit to like a concrete release date, but probably somewhere late 2018 we'll be able to actually nail this and show you full visibility into the virtual desktops running Linux. And by the way, virtual desktops is just one use case, right? Because virtual server is one of the goals, one of the peaks that we want to climb in the next couple of years. So basically managing and monitoring virtual servers with ControlUp is one of the things that we want to help with the Linux integration feature. So, oh sorry. Okay, not to forget this. Yes.
Is there any support for containers?
Containers, very, very interesting. So there's actually someone in this room who has done some experimenting on containers. So Tom, can you comment on that? Oh, also, sorry. Yeah, but with ControlUp. Okay, so Tom, can you say a couple of words?
Well, Eugene, I have figured out how to get some performance stats from containers coming in there. Of course, they have no identity, so it's a bit complicated, but yeah, works quite well for seeing the performance. If I remember correctly, there were some weird things going on with the numbers where you were like, it might be showing what it's been reserved for the container instead of what's actually used. So we're experimenting on it.
Yeah, so that will be the right way to describe it, I guess. We're experimenting with the Windows Server containers. It turns out to be just natively supported because from the inside it's just like normal processes, but the performance statistics are a little bit sometimes weird because you see the same available resources for all the different containers on the same machine.
But recognizing that it's a container and viewing your inventory.
So yeah, but that need is also known to us, and that's something that we're looking to obviously introduce later on. By the way, just I've been lately I've been looking around the environment here, our demo lab, and basically our partners and a lot of people in this room have used this demo lab, and let me just show you a couple of footprints here. So, who is this guy? Have you forgot your session? Yeah. John seems to have a security policy role on his name. Why don't you have any permissions? That's my question.
You set it up for me.
No, seriously. Okay, let's. Who else is here? Blah, 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 blah.
Tom, do they neglect you?
Where is someone here?
Just like you.
No, he's gone. Okay, but some of our partners who actually sit in this room right now are using this lab for demoing to customers, and this is something that we're really proud of. Our relationship with partners. Who is partnering with us? Who has achieved any customer success with ControlUp in this room? So this is great. I'm very proud that all this great expert community is finding this solution useful, and they're actually achieving success with customers with the help of ControlUp. And this is something that we're really proud of, and we want to keep investing in that. By the way, the way that we're going about this partnership is we have a ControlUp expert program, right? Basically, what it means is if you're an independent consultant, right? If you're not a customer or a prospect, right? If you're an independent consultant, trainer, the expert, MVP, or basically an expert in this community, we invite you to be a ControlUp expert, which means that you get a free NFR license. Just make sure you talk to me if you want one, and we'll hook you up with an NFR license, and you'll be able to use it in unlimited use whenever you want. Yes.
Yes. So what can you monitor on AWS or Azure?
Oh, that's what I call a fantastic question. I was used to it.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so actually, I like this question because this is sort of my baby. This feature specifically, well, most of this is not, but this specific feature, the AWS monitoring is something that we introduced in 7.0. Earlier this year. It hasn't been very popular outside of our offices so far, but we find it very useful for ourselves, so maybe that's an indication that it's going to be useful for other people. So basically, what was the idea? The idea was that we run it not a massive, but a pretty impressive AWS infrastructure backend for ControlUp. And we wanted the same visibility that we offer for end-user computing environments. Basically, we wanted to offer the same visibility for AWS. And with one caveat. We wanted to see performance, but we also wanted to see real-time costs. And for anyone working with AWS, or Azure for that matter, I think knowing what happens in real time in terms of cost in your environment is sort of important. Right? Yeah. So what we envisioned was, let's do like we have a CPU column in ControlUp, let's just have another column next to it, which is going to be, instead of CPU percentage, it's going to be in dollars, and it's going to show how much, in terms of money, every machine and every instance is actually consumed. Yeah.
Sorry, can you do that historically as well? Like, because this process used to burn so many dollars?
So the simple answer is yes, we have everything in place to do it. We didn't actually close the historical loop yet, right? We're gathering the data, but we didn't yet produce the reports for it. Okay, just because it's a new feature and it hasn't picked up yet, but hopefully with you guys' help, it can pick up faster, and that will also make us, because basically what we do is the more popular features get the reports developed more quickly, and the newer ones just stand in line and waiting. So the idea is this. Let me just focus here on one of the AWS folders I have. I have a small region here. Basically what we do is we okay, I hope you can see at least some of this. So basically what we do is we gather data from AWS APIs. We do some clever and some of them are really dirty hacks playing with the data here, I have to admit, because let's just say that AWS don't go out of the way to put the cost in front of you. They try to keep the usage and the cost sort of separate so that in the end of the month you learn, but right now it's not on there. main focus. The idea for us was, let's just visualize the real-time costs all the time, and this way we'll be able to spot anything irregular going on. The reason why I'm saying and I'm confident that this feature is useful is that in the first 10 seconds that we tried it in our lab, we had a small tester that already the logic was there, and we ran it. In the first 10 seconds, we discovered a huge storage volume that was attached to one of our instances, and we basically in 10 seconds we were able to save $1,800. Right?
Nice.
Well, because it's very hard to fish it out of the anyone who's dealing with the invoices for cloud usage is aware of how hard it is to actually fish out and connect the dots. You can see the bottom line, right? That you're paying this many dollars, but connecting it to the actual resource, connecting to the actual instance or storage volume, this can be challenging. And this is something that we were able to do really easily with ControlUp, and hopefully this is going to pick up and become a more popular feature in the future. We're also looking into providing the same sort of visibility for Azure. Not there yet, because we are not running too many resources in Azure, so we're trying to make it useful for ourselves first. Just like many other startup companies, but this is one of the cooler features that we developed this year. So, thanks for the question. Yes?
How accurate are your calculations here?
Pretty accurate, I would say. It's a lot of it is approximation, right? Because what you're trying to do is extrapolate from what we see right now and the price list into what you're expected to get in your monthly invoice. There are so many pricing options and so many loopholes and all sorts of options that change the pricing for the customers. I would say that when you really want to spot irregular resource consumption or regular costs, like the RAND waste, right? This is very useful. It may not be precise to the cent on what's happening right now in real time, especially if you have all sorts of advanced pricing schemes going on. But it's definitely saved our bank accounts several times already. Yes, sir.
Two questions, yeah?
Two
First
questions.
question is,
Just one whiskey.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Did you update this information automatically?
Oh yeah.
That means you take it from the price list from the Azure and then it goes. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
second,
yeah, we do.
which cloud services you do this?
Just EC2 at this point.
No Azure,
No, not yet. Not yet.
but you're working on it.
You haven't been paying attention.
No. No, whiskey, no.
No,
I pay quick attention all the time.
Okay. All of us.
And where's this one?
You're not into Azure yet, but I do work at Microsoft. I do have some resources available to help vendors like that. So I just nominated you, company, so we can touch with you to support you getting this effective solution out of Azure.
Thank you. And we'll try to make that happen as fast as we can. Thanks a lot for that. I'll be right with you. Yes.
You know my question, and I think you have an update or something around.
Go ahead, and no one else does. So go ahead.
So my question is GPU monitoring becoming more important. You know, how many users are using GPUs? What applications are they using?
So
Crazy, using too much. What are you guys doing around that?
Yeah, you should team up with NVIDIA or something like that.
you know the difference between a good question and a great question? So the great question is something that I have a good answer for. Right? So basically, just stick around for 10 more minutes, I guess, and we'll be showing something nice like this. Shane, go ahead.
Around the AWS, what services are you monitoring? Primarily EC2 and the associated storage? Or is it other?
So we do EC2 and the associated stuff, so like Elastic IPs and S3 volumes and stuff like that. But yeah, and again, so just sorry, EBS volumes of course. Just EC2 at this point. It will be really interesting to hear what other services are in line in terms of like your priorities. We're thinking RDS and with like SQL management. Many other ideas. Yes, Anu?
Yeah. What about Zen Mobile?
Zen Mobile. Nothing about Zen Mobile so far. I'm sorry. But it's a good question, nevertheless. Okay, so let me just. So this will be, I guess, a good time to look a little bit on the newer stuff that we're about to introduce. Oh, you know what? I have still a couple of minutes, so let me just dive into our newer product, which is called ControlUp Insights. ControlUp Insights is basically, so there was a question here about historical data. Were we able to get and show the same stuff that we're able to show in real time? Are we able to actually monitor the historical distribution of resource consumption and activity? And the answer is yes. From 2016, beginning of 2016, we launched a product called ControlUp Insights, which is basically a SaaS cloud platform. It sits there in AWS, and what it does is collects data from our customers. All the data that ControlUp monitors on-prem, it just uploads there, and it presents all of this data for historical analysis, and we're doing some clever analytics. So let me just give you a couple of examples of the stuff that ControlUp Insights help you do. Zoom in a little bit. Okay, so this is sort of a look of our demo environment from the ControlUp Insights perspective. We call this Top Insights because it sort of summarizes the things that you would not normally pay attention to. This has to do with our demo environment, so I have to explain a little bit what's going on here. So this one user had just came back after a long leave, so it sort of highlights, hey, this user has logged on after this many days of not having logged on to the environment. There's a new guy working, so you log on, the user never logged on to the environment. We spotted that, so we sort of put it in front of you in case you're interested in that. We discovered that the last Thursday was very active, and there was many more sessions than the Thursday average. We show you how many sessions, how many recent user sessions there were, how do they distribute for the different branches from which our users are connecting. We're sort of trying to spot the top peaks of resource consumption, CPU, RAM, I/O, and sort of provide you with the insights that that you may find actionable and you may want to look into and you may want to drill down into and see what's actually going on there. And each one of those widgets or tiles here is clickable, and it leads you to tools to investigate. We're trying not to show stuff here which you cannot investigate or research further. So everything here is clickable, and everything leads to a report that will allow you to sort of investigate more in depth what's actually going on there. So, for example, for this guy, I just clicked on the top CPU peaks. Okay, and now this will take me to a report that will actually show me the computer trends for that selected computer. I don't know what's going to come up. It always can be surprising. And that's why Alex says never do live demo, but I'll try to do it anyway. So it shows those 5 computers for which it found the top CPU peaks, and maybe you can see that this one guy here seems to have very high CPU usage for quite a long time. The nice thing about ControlUp Insights, one of my favorite features here, is that you're actually able to click any data point, and for any data point, we'll show you which processes or which VMs, according to the actual use case, but in this case, if it was a VM, it will show us for this data point which processes contributed to the high CPU consumption, right? So that's the idea. In this case, I don't know if you can see, Internet Explorer was using this, and actually recently we introduced also gathering the actual URLs used by browsers. So in future versions, you will also see not only the name of the browser, but the actual website that was responsible for that irregular CPU consumption. This is very useful in historical investigation, because seeing what's happening in real time is nice, but when someone comes up to you and says, yesterday at 3 p.m., something was wrong and stuff was slow, this is what helps you sort of research it and go back in time and look at the actual resource consumption and research in depth what was actually happening. Okay, so Insights basically it's a cloud solution, right? The upside of it being a cloud solution is that the customer does not need, well, they need some resources for the actual console and our monitoring component to run, but they don't need to set up any databases, they don't need to set up any infrastructure, there's no installation involved in order to actually support this. So this all works very, very easily out of the box. The downside is that not everyone is super ready to share their data and to store it in the cloud, even though, like I have to say, in 2013, 2014, 90% of the questions in this room, when we tried talking about historical data and the way we work with the cloud, 90% of the questions had to do with security and privacy and putting data in the cloud. With time, 2013, 2014, 15, 16, the amount of questions about that, it's not that they disappeared, but people are definitely a lot more open to the cloud. There are a lot of, especially sometimes surprising how in the shows like Synergy or VMworld or Microsoft Ignite, people actually come to the booth and they ask us about the way we work with the cloud, and even some of the government customers or prospects, they try to first research the cloud options and then look into the on-prem options. So it's been an interesting journey and it's been an interesting process how cloud adoption has become a much more relevant thing for our prospects and customers. But I have to say that we still, well, and probably forever, there will be prospects and customers who want this solution totally on-prem. And basically, we went along and developed a version of this which is totally on-prem, right? I have to say that as a startup company, the cloud will always be our favorite. We don't like the on-prem, right? This is something that it makes it very hard to innovate. So we prefer the cloud. It's easier to innovate there, it's easier to build new solutions there, but we are aware of the need in the market, and there is a version of all of this which doesn't talk to anything outside of the organization, just so that you guys are aware. Yes?
So what's your backend on the on-prem version?
On-prem version, it's an IOP, it's called IOP, it's Insights on-prem. So it's an OEM solution which is based on top of a very famous data analytics and machine data system, which you guys may be familiar with. But the OEM agreement puts some limitations on how I can talk about it. But if I just open it for you guys, I guess most of you will be able to really easily spot what I'm talking about. So.
So I guess there is another company in the room that uses the same backend, right?
There might be. Yeah. So I don't know, just look at the URL and the port number may give a little bit of a hint. So this is the login page for the on-prem solution. A lot of our customers are starting to use this and are happy with it. A lot of the larger customers actually prefer the on-prem just because of the scale, right? Because they want all the data available to them on premises. So this has some use cases, okay? And we're trying to keep reasonable feature parity between the cloud solution and the on-prem solution. Good question there as well. So, towards the end, let me just mention a couple of things that we're doing for 7.1, which is about to be released in, I guess, late December. We'll start the beta for this. 7.1 is a version that introduces a few new things. I have it here running. I apologize in advance if something will explode here, because this is an alpha version still, very new. Not many people have seen this. One of the major things that we're introducing in 7.1 is support for NetScalers. Woohoo! Right. We're introducing support for NetScalers. Yeah! basically what I mean by support for NetScalers is that actual NetScaler appliances are going to appear in ControlUp as roles, just like PGAs and computer concessions, processors, and all the rest. So this is a NetScaler VPX here. We are showing you basically the performance of that NetScaler appliance, how many sessions are on it, how many gateways, load balancers, management CPU percentage, package CPU percentage, and so on and so forth. Two things that we found already, like with the AWS example, we try to use this in our own environment and try to see how much it helps us troubleshoot and find problems and find interesting issues in our environment. So 2 times this saved our assets in our actual environment. One of them was this column here, the last saved date. Okay, I don't know how many of you are aware of that, but the NetScalers tend to run with unsafe configurations for a very long time, and then when that becomes a problem is when they reboot and they reset their previous configuration, which God knows what's there. So, so that was one case where it really helped us. And another case where it really helped us was this. We have here the certificate expiration date. Okay.
Oh,
which
okay.
also turns out they don't really go out of the way of alerting you about the certificate that's about to expire, and when it expires, guess what? Nothing happens. For this is the net. Just give me one more minute, okay? This is the NetScaler VPX itself. We're actually showing you all the child objects associated with it, so you can drill down into it. Okay, and for example, in this case, again, I try to zoom in so that makes more sense. So load balancers. Okay, we'll show you the different load balancers with their different performance metrics and configuration. Again, we can't really bring everything, but we try to bring the central and most important stuff. The HDX sessions themselves, including the option to kill actual sessions live, gateways, and NICs. So all the major objects associated with NetScalers. And again, we just have one VPX here, but you can imagine the way it looks in the view where we have multiple NetScalers. And like everything else in ControlUp, you'll be able to actually, for example, go to the gateway side, right, and show all of the gateways on all of your different NetScaler appliances in one view, which presents all sorts of nice analytic and drill down capacity. And I think it's one of the nicest features we developed this year. Esther, you have a question?
I have just a small question. You
Yeah.
know I'm always pushing for extra features, especially with the NetScaler.
I have to say that you are one of the major reasons this is here.
So with the normal ControlUp dashboard, you have the option to run custom scripts
Yes.
on your servers and workers. Are you gonna allow us to run like custom scripts through Nitro on the NetScaler?
So what we're able to do is, okay, let me just explain for the rest of the room like what exactly you're referring to. So we have a platform called Script-Based Actions, which allows you to take any PowerShell, VB script, or CMD script and plug it into ControlUp, and then it becomes a management action. And I haven't shown you guys a lot around the management side of ControlUp, but basically ControlUp is able to kill processes, log off sessions, run stuff on computers, run stuff inside user sessions, kill group policy, all sorts of management actions that help you actually fix problems in real time. So for NetScalers, the relevance of that is that we'll actually be able to allow you to write your own scripts and run them with PowerShell at this point, right? So in the platform will support running script-based actions against your NetScaler, right? So I'm not. I think I'm NetScaler certified, but I haven't touched an actual NetScaler in years. But we have people who are experts in that, and I'll be able to connect you guys whoever's interested with our experts in that, and you'll be able to work on that. By the way, the script library that we have is growing all the time, and we have a lot of scripts written by, again, by some people in this room, and a lot of other people in the community. And it's been really great to be able to showcase management capabilities without developing new versions. This is the software vendor's dream, right? I have to mention just one more thing that we're introducing in 7.1, and maybe we'll have one more minute for questions afterwards. The other major feature that we're introducing in 7.1 is support for GPU monitoring. So GPU monitoring, thank you. So let me just quickly.
That's the time up.
Quickly spin up a session with some GPU activity here. I don't know. Do something. Okay. Just quickly to be able to show you what we're able to do. So, we're actually showing you for every machine the GPU configuration that it has, the GPU usage, the video decoder usage, encoder usage, and memory, frame buffer, and all of that for NVIDIA GPUs. So thanks a lot to our partners from NVIDIA who really helped us to actually develop this. What's even cooler is that we're able to show you what's happening inside the machine, and to help you, in a second, let me just switch to the preset that showcases that. So this preset shows you the different GPU metrics per process. Again, sorry for the lack of time, I couldn't spin up an actual GPU activity here, but believe me, it works fine. GPU utilization, decoder, encoder, everything else happening with the GPU from the process perspective. So we're actually able to correlate process activity with actual GPU resource consumption on the machine. So you'll be able to drill down all the way into the process level and see which processes are actually consuming GPU activity, which opens a host of all sorts of great possibilities. For example, you'll be able to analyze historically how your different applications are behaving in terms of GPU utilization, and you'll be able to see which applications are actually benefiting from GPU utilization and how are they utilizing their GPUs. So this is another thing that we're really glad to introduce in 7.1. There's lots of different topics that we can cover, but unfortunately, not much time left. So
No time left.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex. Please go to ControlUp.com if you want to try the product. You have 30 days of an unlimited trial, including all the features. You have also cool stuff like a log-on simulator, which is totally free. You have NetScale tools for NetScaler monitoring and more nice stuff that we're offering. And of course, you can, if you're a consultant, you can get a free NFR license. Just talk to me about it. I was Eugene. Thank you very much.